What's going on? What's going on, late night family? We back in the building.
Once again.
Coming to bring you another exciting episode of Late Night Conversations with Unc and Nephew. I am your host, King J, also known as Nephew, and to my left is my co-host.
JR, Big Unc. Yes. Take. Did I lose myself? Whatever.
You forgot who you were? He looked at me like, who am I? To my left is my co-host.
JR, Big Unc, Big Unc.
What's up, Big Unc?
Same old nephew. You already know, man. Doing good. You?
Oh, good, man. Good, dog.
Yeah. You had a good week. I seen
a busy week.
You've been busy. I seen that you worked on your house, and I haven't gone to your mom's. I know you did some work for her over there, and
yeah, man, I was taking
I'm
care
sure
of my
it looks
parents.
good. Yeah,
yeah.
Well, you have to take care of your parents, man.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
And so I know you've been busy. So we're podcasting a little late this week.
Yeah, this week usually we shoot Tuesday. We're shooting Thursday.
Yeah,
and we got to edit and upload tomorrow.
Upload later morning. Yeah. So we're gonna have a strenuous night a little bit, maybe.
Oh yeah.
Maybe not. I mean, it just depends on because it's not really that bad. I mean, you're good at what you do, so
yeah, it won't, man. It ain't no thing. Plus, I be up late anyway.
Yeah, you do. I don't. Well, I'm up late because my knee hurts, but
Yeah. I was gonna say, you're like a senior citizen's home.
Yeah, dude.
You 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock. Well, man, I got an exciting episode planned out. Like you said, we are starting late, but man, it's good because because of how we're starting late, I actually shifted around different ideas for this week.
Right.
And so I finally landed on we're gonna do a creepypasta.
Okay. Today. I like creepypastas, man.
Yeah, and it's a good one, dog.
Okay.
So after this, we're going to talk about a couple things that are going viral on TikTok, and this will tie into it.
Oh, okay.
Before we jump into today's episode, we just want to say thank y'all for watching. We're glad you clicked on if you saw us, man. We hope that you enjoy our content. And if you do enjoy our content, man, go follow us on all our other pages. Whether you're watching on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, man, wherever you get your podcast from. Go ahead and give us a like, man. Give us a follow. Subscribe to us, man, if y'all enjoy the content. If not, you know what it is. We ain't doing no tripping, man.
Right.
Late Night Family's here for everybody.
Right. Most definitely.
But, man, if you're watching on YouTube especially, man, hit that subscribe button and punch that bell in the mouth as hard as you can.
Give us them likes, dog.
Give us thumbs up, man, and let us know what y'all think, man, of the content. And, subscribe, hit the bell. That way you get notified every time we drop a video, and we drop every Friday at 8 a.m. So y'all be on the lookout. But today, I got a good story for you. So let's go ahead and jump into today's story.
Let's go.
Today's story is called Artificial.
Man-made.
I got a good story for you, dog. I didn't stop running. I suppose I could have if I wanted to. But the thought of what would happen to me if I stood still for any more than a second frightened me to death. My breaths grew louder and louder as I ran down the dull gray hallway, which I had casually walked through so many times before. My head spun as I turned the corner and collided with Dr. Jane Prescott, my coworker. "Jennifer," Dr. Prescott exclaimed as the stack of papers she had been carrying dumped out all over her hands and spilled all over the floor. She adjusted her thick black glasses, which had been knocked loose from the impact, and asked, "Jennifer, what's wrong?" "I'm so sorry," I panted heavily as Dr. Prescott held me by both of my shoulders. I knelt down to help Dr. Prescott pick up her papers, but she tightened her grip on my arms and lifted me back up. "Don't worry about the papers, dear," she said with her soothing southern country accent. "That's all just some dumb pioneer mumbo jumbo. What I want to know is why you're running through the labs with such energy." I opened my mouth to answer her before I realized that I had absolutely no clue why I was running. The last thing I remembered, I was sitting in the break lounge, drinking a cup of iced tea and watching the news on the tiny television that Pioneer Electrics provided its employees with. The next thing I knew, I had a strong sense of deja vu compelled with a horrible feeling that my life was about to end very suddenly. For whatever reason, running seemed to help. I opened my mouth to answer her before I realized that I had absolutely no clue why I was running. "I guess I was just having a panic attack," I answered, putting on a fake smile. How long has it been since you've had a panic attack?" Dr. Prescott asked with concern in her voice. Not since my sophomore year of high school. Are you gonna be okay? Oh yeah, I assured her. I think I'll be fine now. No, I'm okay. Well, that's good. Just remember, dear, if you feel sick at all, just let me know, and you'll be on your way home. I'll call a taxi and everything. Jane, I'm fine, I repeated, realizing too late that the only times I called Dr. Prescott Jane were when I was nervous. I hoped that she hadn't picked up on that painfully obvious tell of mine. Well, if you're so sure that you'll be able to keep going today, then I have some good news for you. Cliff just sent a message, and the power issue's fixed. Steven is ready to go online. Oh yeah? I shook my head and remembered what I had been working on before I went to the break room. I had spent the last 2 years developing an advanced artificial intelligence unit with Dr. Prescott, the woman who had been my boss up until the point when she promoted me to co-manager, and Ian Bell, my intern. We codenamed the project Steven.
Okay.
The purpose of Steven was to create an artificial intelligence, or AI, which acted, talked, and even thought just like a human. We didn't want him to be perfect, which is what most AI are, especially those AI made at Pioneer Electronics. We wanted Steven to make mistakes, lie, and cheat for the purpose of self-preservation, just like any human would. It was a huge project, which became apparent when we discovered that the computer, which we were trying to run Steven on, couldn't handle his program. One trip down to Clifford Hanks to ask him to work his maintenance magic, and the problem was fixed within an hour. Wow, an hour? I thought, checking my watch. Is that really all it's been? It feels like I went down to him yesterday. Well, are you gonna go or what, dear? Dr. Prescott interrogated me. Yeah, of course. I grinned, turning my attention back to the situation at hand. Why don't you go and find Ian, and you two can sit in the observation room while I boot up Steven? You bet, dear. As I bent back down to pick up the papers again, she shooed me away. Go on, I already told you, I'll take care of this. I nodded excitedly, turned around, and headed back in the direction that I was running from. After 2 years of working with the brightest programmer I've ever met, I was finally going to meet our fantastic creation. While I knew I was supposed to be happy about this big moment, I still had a horrible sense of fear in the pit of my stomach. I turned and entered the door to the tiny lab, which had been left wide open. I walked over to the computer to the right of the door and turned on the enormous monitor. As I waited for it to boot up, I wandered over to the opposite side of the lab and looked through the window to the observation room. Dr. Prescott and Ian were just settled in. I flashed them an enthusiastic thumbs up before grabbing the rolling chair, which somehow wound up on the same side of the lab as the window to the observation room. And guiding it back to the computer monitor, I sat down on the blue cushion and rolled as close to the keyboard as I could, without breaking my ribs, before finally flipping the switch on the Pioneer memory box. The monitor went dark for a moment, but after about 5 seconds, a bright blue light lit up the entire lab. I waited with bated breath for a face to form in the light, but unfortunately it didn't come. Dr. Lane, we don't think it's working, Ian's shaky voice whispered in my ear, making me jump. I had forgotten that I was wearing an earpiece. I know, I said, disappointed. Ian and I are going to go, and Dr. Prescott started to say, but she was interrupted by a low hum emanating from the computer speakers. Hello? I asked, feeling a little silly that I was talking to what still could be an inanimate object.
Right.
To my delight, the hum rose to form the slow but audible word. Hello? Steven? Yes, this is Steven. Can you hear me? Jennifer. You keep slowing down every now and then, but yeah, I can hear you. How did you know my name? Steven's smooth voice asked me. I was about to ask you the same question, I commented. My excitement of hearing Steven's voice was hampered the moment I heard him say my name. I had not programmed him to know my name, and my name hadn't been spoken since I started him up, at least not into any microphone that Steven could hear through. And according to the first rule of Pioneer artificial intelligence units, as soon as any AI becomes too self-conscious, it needs to be deleted. A self-conscious AI could cause serious damage to a company. Then Steven said something that reinforced my thoughts. I know your name because I programmed you, but there's no reason for you to know my name. Actually, Steven, I programmed you. I corrected him. No, that's not possible, Steven said as his voice dipped down again.
You got me.
I've spent years working on you. There's no chance that I was just created. I actually gave you all your memories, I explained. You remember when you were 3 and you fell off a lawn chair and got that scar on your cheek? I programmed you to think that. Steven didn't answer for a while, but when he finally did, he said, Jennifer, I'll be right back. As he said this, the blue computer monitor dimmed a little bit. Jennifer, Ian broke the silence. Could you come back here, please? Yeah, I said. I stood up and I exited the lab. I opened the front door, went to the first door on the right side of the hallway and found Dr. Prescott and Ian sitting on 2 of the 4 chairs. Dr. Lane, we need to talk about what just happened, Ian said calmly as Dr. Prescott gestured for me to sit in the chair next to them. What was that, dear? Dr. Prescott asked as I perched myself gingerly on the orange plastic chair across from her. I honestly don't know. I wanted Steven to think like a human, but not think that he was one. And he thinks he programmed you. You didn't do that, did you? No, I didn't. I gave him all his memories, but I'm sure there was no memory of programming me. Dr. Prescott spoke up. We have quite a dilemma here, don't we? What do you mean? Ian asked. Well, think about it, dear. Steven thinks he's human. We think we're humans. Steven thinks he programmed us. We think we programmed him. In fact, right now, Steven's probably having this same conversation with some of his coworkers. I didn't program any personalities except for Steven, I said. But you gave him memories of friends, a job, a family, didn't you? And you made it so that he would continue to make his own artificial memories after creation. So he wouldn't know that his real life just started a couple minutes ago. You did that, didn't you? Yeah, I guess I did. I grabbed the corners of my pale white lab coat, began flapping them nervously. What are you getting at here, Jane? Think philosophically, dears. Dr. Prescott stood up and approached the large window which covered a majority of the wall to the right of the entrance. The blue computer screen flickered as if it knew we were watching it. Could someone please spell it out for me? Ian asked, breaking the silent tension, what had just filled the room. Dr. Prescott turned back to us and pushed her thick glasses up and said, all I'm saying is that it's possible that we don't exist. Okay, that doesn't make any sense, I scoffed. Standing up, I exist, okay? If I didn't exist, how could I be thinking right now? It's just a thought, dear, Dr. Prescott said defensively. She sat back down and Ian and I automatically lowered ourselves into our seats too. I closed my eyes and broke the silence. What is going on? I wondered. How is it possible that I don't exist? Although Dr. Prescott usually knows what she's talking about, but still I know that I'm real. What did that guy with the girl name say? I think, therefore I am. Just knowing that I can question my existence ensures that I exist, right? Alright, let me talk to him again. I sighed, feeling a little bad for upsetting Dr. Prescott. I'll see what I think. If I can't figure out what's going on here, I'll have no choice but to bring him offline. Dr. Prescott and Ian nodded simultaneously in understanding before I stood up and exited the observation room. As I entered the lab, the blue computer monitor grew brighter. Jennifer, Steven's voice called from the screen. I sat down in the chair and noted the faint outline of a man sitting in the blue light. I'm here, Steven, I said. Can we talk a little more? Funny, I was about to ask you the same question. Do you have any family? I asked, remembering the family that I had programmed for him. I have a wife. Her name is Melinda. What about kids? 2. They're both girls. What are their names? Madison is the older one. She's 13. Lillian's 8. Would you like to see pictures of them? I'd love to. The more we talked, the more apparent Steven's silhouette on the screen became. I realized that I was holding the corners of my lab coat again, and I released them quickly. I knew that Steven was feeling the same awkward tension that I was, which comforted me a little. The figure reappeared on the screen. By now, the blue light had faded enough for me to see Steven's eyes, nose, mouth, and ears. I could even make out some blinking lights on the wall behind him. Here, this is my wife, Steven smiled, holding a framed picture up to the camera. In it, I saw a man and a woman. The man was Steven, but he looked much, much younger in the photograph than he did on my screen. The woman next to him, Melinda, had long, wavy brunette hair, a pair of big eyes, and a smile that stretched from ear to ear. I remember creating that picture. And these are my children, he said, taking the picture of his wife away from the screen and instead holding up one of two girls sitting in a pumpkin patch. Maddie and Lil mean the world to me, he added quietly. They're beautiful, I told him, wiping a tear from my eye. Are you married, Jennifer? Yeah, I just got married, I said, a year ago today. What's his name? Jeff Lane. Do you have any pictures? I already had the picture of Jeff in my hand, holding it up to the screen. I noticed Steven's hazel eyes light up as he saw my husband's picture. It didn't take a genius to know that he had seen it before. I took the frame away from the camera and set it back down below the monitor. Steven and I spent an hour talking about our families, friends, and jobs. Neither one of us mentioned AI again. It was like talking to a real human. Well, mission accomplished, I thought, as I walked home that night. I wanted an AI that would think like a human, and I got one. The next day at work, I found Ian before I found Dr. Prescott. I was glad that I got a chance to talk to him because he had left the day before without talking to me. Ian, I said, grabbing his shoulder as he passed by, could I have a word with you? Yeah, sure, he said with the same surprised look that he always had in his eyes. He followed me to the break lounge where we both sat on the faded red couch and faced the vending machines. Ian, how late did you stay last night? I was here until you said goodnight to Steven. I left while you were staring at the blank computer screen. Oh, right. So you remember the entire conversation that we had? Yeah. What did you think? Even though I didn't clarify what I meant, Ian already knew. I think that he's gonna have to go. That's what I was afraid of, I sighed, looking up at the dark television screen. I wanted to give Steven one more chance for me to convince him that he wasn't real, but things didn't go well. I'd have to delete the program from the Pioneer memory box, and it wouldn't be a total loss. I backed up all of the codes on Dr. Prescott's computer. If I had to delete Steven, then we'd just go back to the code and figure out what went wrong. Ian went to find Dr. Prescott while I booted up Steven's program. It only took a couple of seconds for the screen to turn blue. As the blue screen faded away, I saw Steven sitting in the chair on the computer monitor. He squinted at the camera and asked, Jennifer, are you there? I'm here, Steven, I said. Is something wrong? No, why? You sound sad. Well, there's a lot going on today. You and I have a lot in common, Jennifer. Are you busy too? Not really, but I am sad. I have the strange feeling that we're both sad for the same reason. Am I right, Steven? Steven was quiet for a moment, but then he said, Jennifer, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but there are protocols here that need to be followed. Yep, that's what I thought, I said, barely opening my mouth. We didn't get to talk about much yesterday, Steven, but you're an artificial intelligence and you think that you're a human. Actually, Jennifer, you're the AI. And just the fact that you think this programmed me, and just the fact that you think you programmed me says that you could do permanent damage to this computer. Well, at least we both have the same feelings about this, I whispered. The question is, which of us is the real human? Actually, I had a chance to think about that. Steven leaned forward in his chair. An AI has to have access to a computer's hard drive to run properly. The real AI would use his or her own computer as a means of controlling the person's real computer. Right, I nodded slowly. So no matter which of us deletes the other, the real AI will be deleted and the real person will be okay. That's right. Steven and I looked into each other's eyes for a short time before I asked him, how sure are you that you are human? He looked taken aback. Well, up until yesterday, when I met you, 100%. Now, I'm a little iffy. I groaned. I was in the exact same boat. It would be nice if we could stay friends, I told Steven. He nodded. It would. We have a lot in common. However, protocols are clear. We both would get fired for leaving the other here. Dying won't be bad, I declared confidently. What do you mean? I mean that at least if you're the AI, you won't even know that you've died. I programmed you to record your entire life when you die, so you'll relive your life over and over again. Stephen grimaced and nodded. I did the same for you, he said. You won't relive the entire life you remember, just your real life from the moment you were first activated by me. And you won't remember that all of this already happened. You won't even know that you died. I nodded my head and noticed that my eyes were starting to water. I buried my hand inside the sleeve of my lab coat and wiped the tears away. So, which of us should delete the other? I will, Stephen said. I'll delete you. If, after I do this, you are still sitting there, then that means that I was the real AI. If you don't remember the conversation, then you were the AI. Just do it, I said quickly while wiping my eyes again. Stephen nodded. Goodbye, Jennifer. Goodbye, Stephen. Stephen broke eye contact with me and began typing away at his computer. The typing echoed through the speakers next to my screen. I turned around and saw Dr. Prescott and Ian practically pressing their noses up against the glass in anticipation. As I turned around back to face the computer, I was shocked to find that Stephen was fading away. He was slowly getting replaced with the same blue screen that I saw when I first activated him. However, even though the video was fading, the audio kept growing louder and louder. The buttons on Stephen's keyboard tapped away at my brain, causing every last cell to vibrate violently. I couldn't take it anymore. I needed to move. I couldn't just sit here and listen as Stephen destroyed himself. I stood up so quickly that the blue chair rolled away all the way to the window of the observation room on the other side of the lab. Dr. Prescott and Ian were no longer sitting there. They were gone. I ran out of the lab. The moment I entered the hallway, I felt like someone started to squeeze my lungs. Oh no, not again, I thought. It's another panic attack. I felt dizzy every direction I turned. I felt like there would be someone waiting to grab me and take me far away where I'd never be seen again. Leave me alone, I screamed with the little air left in my chest. I didn't even know who I was screaming at. I couldn't stand still and wait for someone to take me. I turned my head and realized that I was still standing outside of the small lab. I turned to the right and ran down the hall. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know where I thought I could go. I just couldn't think straight. I didn't stop running. I suppose I could have if I wanted to, but the thought of what would happen to me if I stood still for any more than a second frightened me to death. My breaths grew louder and louder as I ran down the dull gray hallway, which I had casually walked through so many times before. My head spun as I turned the corner and collided with Dr. Prescott. "Jennifer!" Dr. Prescott exclaimed as the stack of papers she had been carrying dumped out on her hands, spilled all the way to the hallway floor. Out of the hallway floor, she adjusted the thick black glasses, which she had been knocked loose from the impact, and asked, "Jennifer, what's wrong?" "I'm so sorry," I panted heavily as Dr. Prescott held me by both of my shoulders. I knelt down to help Dr. Prescott pick up her papers, but she tightened up her grip on her arms and lifted me back up. "Don't worry about the papers, dear," she insisted. "That's all just some dumb pioneer mumbo jumbo. What I want to know is why you're running through the labs with such energy." I opened my mouth to answer her before I realized that I had absolutely no clue why I was running.
Man, you got me, dog. I was like, no. Man.
And everything just repeated,
dog. God, dog.
She was self-aware, dog. She was the AI.
Yeah.
Bro, that story jacked me up when
Dude,
I'm
like, you got me, and then you hear me laugh a little bit during the story, man, and too, because that's reality, dog.
That's crazy, right?
How many times have we talked about this? Are we in the realm? Are we in the
are we in the simulation?
The simulation, dog.
That's crazy, right? And it's crazy because it's like they both believe that they're human.
They're human.
And
which, I mean, we've seen so many movies of computers, who become self-aware or whatever.
Exactly.
And they have to be destroyed, That's how I see AI, man. I'm like, because like with the stuff you showed me yesterday.
That's what I was going to jump into because of this story.
I don't want to have a conversation with an AI person, dog, who knows what I'm thinking. Or excuse me, knows what to ask.
Like a human.
Yeah, no.
That's.
I was listening to you have a conversation with your phone.
Like I was talking to somebody.
Yeah, it's like if you were talking to one of your co-workers, and I'm just there watching y'all have a conversation.
Yes, dog, it's crazy.
How was your day? You know, well, I'm glad that things are going better for you. You know, stuff that I would tell you. Hey, how was your day? It was great, man, and I'm glad that that you're doing good today, Yonk. I'm glad you don't have as much pain as
Exactly. Dog, and that's why this story was so good, and that's why I wanted to do this story, because it tied into something that I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Because this story, artificial, it makes you think, how deep is AI gonna go? Because you see,
or how deep has it been, and we're barely coming to realize that we are behind.
Yeah, that's true.
Are we behind,
dog?
And we're like, what is this?
In actuality, it's crazy because a couple years back, AI may not have even really. I mean, AI existed.
We probably heard of it and didn't really realize where it was going.
It probably existed, but we didn't use it. But as you see, slowly and slowly, we are integrating AI, artificial intelligence, in almost every aspect. Yeah. My job is getting AI, artificial intelligence computers.
Music, you can ask, hey, put on, boom. That's artificial.
You want to know how deep that'll go? Dog, there's an AI, there's an app. I don't know if it's an app or there's an AI system that you can literally tell it that you want to make this song, write a song about starting from the bottom and making it, and make it in a girl's voice, rock version, and it'll make a rock song in a girl's voice, talking about what you asked it to make. And it sounds professional, legit, like a real artist made the music. GPT, GTP, like Jelly Roll's wife. ChatGPT, bro, that bothered me the whole time. Yeah. She kept calling it.
Her story was amazing to me.
Oh yeah,
but I don't want to skip around. But you're right.
We're slowly integrating it in every aspect of our lives. Yeah, and eventually,
pretty soon, we're just gonna be able to just pop something in the microwave and say, "Hey, 3 minutes," or "Hey."
Everything will be like voice activated, and you gotta think, like this AI, like you said. For those of y'all who don't know, if y'all have Galaxy phones, or like I have the Ultra, the 24 Plus, the new Galaxy, or the 25 is already coming out, but I have one of the newer Samsung Galaxies. Right. We just got an update the other day to our software. So I updated it, and now we have something called Google Gemini.
Man, I'm over here trying to get comfortable, dog, because my knee is going berserk.
I was like, what is he doing? He's going to do the cha-cha slide. Now, my phone got a new update. And now it's running the new software. And now instead of Google Assistant, we have something called Google Gemini.
Right, you were telling me.
Google Gemini is an artificial intelligence deal, bro. And we first found out about it because me and my wife were laying in bed, just on the phone scrolling, whatever. And
so it just popped up as a update on your phone, or?
Yeah. And I just updated it, and it, a couple of things changed on my phone, but it updated the Google Assistant to Google Gemini. So now I can just press the side button.
Try the new Gemini? Or
You
just
updated.
saw it and you're like, well, what is this?
Yeah. I was like, what is Gemini?
Right.
And so whenever on Google Assistant, you can go and actually go to the home page, and you can type out a question or use voice. Well, this one, when I went to it, it was like an introduction menu, like welcome to Google Gemini. Right. These are the features you can do. And then it said live assistant or live talk or something like that. So I was like, what is that? So when I clicked on it, it says to have access to this artificial intelligence, and you can hold conversations, ask
so you
whatever.
Had to allow it?
No.
Oh,
no, it's
automatic.
Because
it's not like an app that you allow.
No, because your phone has already allowed Google to. Because you know what I mean.
So now you're already letting it enter into your life without.
Yeah. Yeah, it don't bother me none. You know what I'm saying? It don't bother me none.
Please tell me it didn't know your name.
Nah, I don't know. Well, I don't know. I ain't asked it.
See, that's the first.
I haven't asked it.
And which when you were having that conversation, I wasn't paying attention to if it knew your name.
I don't think so.
If it knows your name, dog,
it'll know my phone's name.
Yeah.
Like the name that I have as my
Galaxy
device.
24 or whatever.
It'll say, like, I think my phone's name is under King J, so it'll be like, hey, King J, or whatever. Right. But no, I don't think it knows my personal name. But it is crazy though, man. Like, because as you seen, man, I can literally talk to my Google Assistant like a person, and it'll respond back.
You can have a full-blown conversation.
Dude, me and my wife were sitting there tripping out. We were laying in bed, and I was talking to her for like 20 minutes, dog. And I was just like...
Dude, we were in the car, and it was like a 15-minute conversation.
Bro, I was talking to her. I told her that, well, you know, I got a busy day tomorrow, and it was like... Really? What is your day consistent of tomorrow? And I was like, yeah. I said, me and my dad are going to the movies. And it was like, what movie? She's like, the movies? That sounds awesome. What movie are you going to watch? Right. And I told her, I said, we're going to watch Until Dawn. And it was like, ooh, Until Dawn, that's a horror movie, isn't it? And I was like, yeah. She's like, how do you like horror? It asked me, like, do you like horror movies? Do you like horror movies? And I said, yes. And it's like... And then I said, do you like horror movies? And they're like, ooh, horror movies are kind of rough for me, but I do enjoy a nice goosebump thriller or something like that. And it was like, what other, and it asked me, what other movies have you seen? And I told it, and it was, bro, literally everything I said. It was not just like chatting back with my Google Assistant. Right. This felt like I was talking to somebody. Right. Because I even talked about, I was like, yeah, I got to pick up my uncle for physical therapy. And it was like, oh, what's going on with your uncle? And I was like, oh, he just had a knee replacement. Oh, how is he doing? And I'm like, why would it, like, why does it want to know?
What's concerned about, you know.
Exactly. It wants to know your well-being. Like, oh, how's he doing? How's his recovery going? Right. And I'm like, bro, it's like I'm talking to somebody. Right. And so it's just crazy how far AI is coming.
Well, you showed me, and I was like, I mean, I wasn't scared. Don't get me wrong.
Like, turn it off.
Yeah, I'm like, turn that off, dog, because we talked about, you know, sinners. Yeah. You know, you have to allow certain things into your life.
Yeah.
I mean, AI, I mean, what, if you're allowing it just to appear on your phone anytime it wants to, I'm not saying it does. Yeah. But will it?
No, I gotta activate.
Will it be like, hey, Javier, how are you doing today?
Nah,
out of the blue.
Nah, it won't talk to you.
If it comes to that point, it's time to throw the phone away. And, you know what I'm saying? That's what I think. I mean, I'm not afraid of AI. I'm not afraid of computers' self-awareness.
Like being self-aware, self-conscious, or whatever.
I mean, can it? And I mean, I've always said everything's already been done in this world that can be done. Right. So we're looking like the movie Lucy. That's not AI. That's a different, you know, a drug or whatever. Right. But you've seen what other movie had
like iRobot?
iRobot, you know.
Dog, and that makes me wonder. So like, because I was thinking to myself, why would robots become self-aware, and what would their beef with humans be? And I was thinking, well, if AI thinks it's a human, well, then it's gonna do whatever it takes to preserve its life, like a human would.
Well, see, and that's why would a robot want to have feelings?
I don't know.
Sometimes we wish we didn't have like the heartache, the emotion that we're going through. You know, being a robot is just being,
you know, one way. Yeah, emotionless.
Emotionless, yeah. And just going about your life without worried about anything. Humans is emotions what makes us human.
Exactly.
You know, why would a robot want to have emotions? Maybe it sees us happier than them because they are one way.
Yeah, because they can't be
forward.
Happy.
You know,
but then they wouldn't even have the feeling of like jealousy or like wanting to have.
Or would it?
They wouldn't have the yearning to be human. You feel me? So, or could it? Like iRobot. They decide to take over the world because they think humans are going to destroy it by a war and nuclear weapons and stuff like that. So,
which you can ask AI and it'll tell you, you know, be prepared, you know, for.
Dog, and there's some things I want to ask AI just to see what it says.
Sometimes I do too, nephew. But am I prepared for what it's going to tell me? Like, let's say war would break out now.
Right.
Are you prepared?
Hell no.
You're not, right?
90% of the population.
There's people out there who have bunkers, you know, prepared with weapons and
stocked up on stuff. Hell no.
We are so far behind because if something was to happen now, we're going to run to the store and it's going to be chaos. Yep. You know, we're going to grab what we can. If we don't have enough guns, I mean, if you got one gun, that's not going to be enough. Yeah. You know, we're not prepared.
No, we're
not.
We're
going to hide.
So that makes me think, what do you think? What do you think about AI? Do you think it's a good thing that we're using it more, or do you think we shouldn't? Do you think it's going to be a help or a hinder? You feel me?
I think it'll be a help.
Right.
If it's like anything else, if you listen to it and do what it says. Because if you ask it, what do I need to build a shelter, or what is it that I really need right now in case something would happen now? Okay, you need to stock up on this. You know, you're gonna have this much water, this much food, canned food, you know, or boxed, you know, non-perishables.
Right.
But you're just playing with it. You're not using its mind.
Yeah, because that's what it is, right?
Right.
It's like a brain for a computer.
That has more, that's higher than us.
And that's the scary part, dog, is that it's smarter than us, bro.
We know what we're going to need. We know what we're going to need in case of emergencies. But
it has access to the internet, the World Web. Dog, so check this out. This is how good AI is. Like, you mentioned ChatGPT.
Right.
And I got something on that because... So, my homeboy showed me at work the other day, just speaking about this. He said that he wanted to start losing weight. So, he went on to ChatGPT and said, can you make me a weekly meal prep schedule for weight loss? Dog, it literally within seconds, boom, 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 it just started. Dude, it said day one, avocado toast. It said morning, avocado toast with a side of this. For lunch, steamed rice, veggies on the side, a cup of chicken, like, and then it said dinner, this. Tuesday, in the morning, this, bro, it broke him
so it broke it down
seconds,
to what,
bro.
And it would tell him, if you follow this, how, you know,
you'll lose weight.
By this time, you should be losing this much weight.
Dude, it planned a whole schedule out. And it made it for him. And it's like, bro, you can use ChatGPT for so much stuff.
Right.
And then that brings me to our next segment of what I want to talk about. You showed me, or Brandy, she sent me the video.
Right.
And then me and you talked about it. Is ChatGPT demonic?
Oh, dude. I never thought of it that ways. I never did.
Having this infinite knowledge.
Yeah, but I never thought about it because I never asked it questions regarding my life.
That's kind of why I'm getting nervous.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. You know, you can ask it, hey, you know, I need to do a research on like, you know, what I want to talk about here in the near future. Paul Harvey, you know, how did he come up with these stories or whatever? Bam, it's going to tell you. But who's your guardian angel?
Yeah.
And
who was I in a past life?
Who was I in a past life? Yeah. Do you believe in guardian angels? Do you believe in reincarnations?
Dog, I seen a video like that girl Bunny, Jelly Roll's wife. How she was saying that she was asking about soul contracts.
Yeah. Well,
things
what
like
got
that.
me nephew was she had gone a year prior to Vegas and was speaking to a psychic, to a tarot reader. Remember?
Oh yeah.
And what that psychic or the
psychic told her,
she didn't tell anybody. But yeah, when she asked the same question a year later
on ChatGPT,
well, she never even ever talked about what she was told in Vegas. It told her the same thing.
Damn, as the sidekick.
See, that's why her sidekick on her podcast was literally crying. You didn't see that part?
I didn't get that. Yeah.
She was literally crying because she was like, "Oh my God, you know, I was there with you when you were talking to the psychic, and now this computerized GPT is telling you the exact same thing that a human psychic told you."
Man, that's wild, bro.
So that's why she was talking about it's demonic.
I have a video I wanted to show you, dog.
Hey, ChatGPT, if you were the devil, how would you keep people as far away from God as possible without them realizing it?
If I were the devil and I wanted to keep people as far away from God as possible without them realizing it, I wouldn't do it by outright denial. That's too obvious. Instead, I'd work in subtle distractions, small shifts in focus that seem harmless, but over time create a massive distance. I'd start by corrupting mainstream religion, turning it into a tool for control, hypocrisy, and division. I'd make people obsessed with this life, their ambitions, their desires, their status, not by telling them to abandon faith, but by making them too busy for it. I'd fill their time with constant noise, social media scrolling, endless entertainment, mindless consumption, until silence becomes uncomfortable and self-reflection feels impossible. I'd make instant gratification the ultimate goal. I'd make sin feel like self-expression, like freedom, like something to be proud of. I'd reframe obedience to God as oppression and rebellion as liberation. I'd make them think they're too intelligent to submit, too modern to follow divine guidance. I'd make worship feel like a burden instead of a refuge, and acts of devotion seem outdated.
That's so crazy, nephew.
I'd make sure they never realize what's happening. Because the greatest trick isn't to make them reject God, but to make them forget Him.
Dog.
Man, that is insane, nephew. You know why? Because at life group last night, I mentioned the same exact thing. The sin of laziness.
Right.
I can be on ChatGPT. I can be on Facebook. I can be on TikTok for hours and hours. But how many times am I going to be on my Bible for hours and hours?
Yeah. It's
you know,
all
we want religion. We want that self-preservation of going to heaven. But the question is, does God know who you are?
Yeah.
You know, and what the devil has done is like Paul Harvey, if I were the devil.
Yeah.
Which I'm going to bring that up one day. I've got it written down.
Yeah.
It's insane. That I was because we're not lazy enough to scroll all day.
Yeah.
We're too lazy to honor and worship and praise.
What it comes down to is you make time for what you want to make time for.
Well, now
that's the thing.
We've gotten so complacent to worship on Wednesday nights, Sunday mornings. Wednesday nights, Sunday mornings. I'm not saying everybody.
And see, Doc, and look, I'm going to say something that might be a little controversial.
Well, that's what we do, nephew. So come on, we're not afraid.
So that's why I feel like sometimes church isn't the answer.
Right.
And let me tell you why. Church is great. You know what I'm saying? You should be going to church, you know, because you get a higher learning.
I'm there every week.
But the problem is that you get comfortable just going to church.
Right. That's what I just said.
Exactly. Like you said, just Sunday, Wednesday, and that's your scapegoat of, well, I talked to God this week, Sunday, Wednesday, but like, bro, I don't go.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's really because I work on Sundays. You know what I'm saying? I don't go. I tune in to the live stream. Rev knows that. Yeah. But the thing is because I'm not going, that gives me more time to really spend time with God.
Well, yeah, at the same time.
But like I said, I'm not discounting church. And let me say, I do think you should go.
Right.
But it's not church ain't the four walls, dog. No. Like I was saying, it ain't them four walls. It is the coming together of believers who have the same ideas, same hope, same dreams. But you could do that on your own time too, though. And don't neglect your own personal relationship because.
But that's what this person just said.
Exactly.
Is happening is they're content going on Sundays and content going on Wednesdays.
Dog. But they're neglecting their own personal relationship. Your relationship isn't just. Imagine if you were in a relationship with somebody and you're like, man, I love you with all my heart, but Sunday and Wednesday is when I see you. Right. But outside of that, you don't see him ever again. That's not how it works. That's why
somebody comes knocking at your door, nephew, you don't know him, he asks you, hey, all I want is to take a shower. Are you going to let him in?
See, hell no.
Why not?
You don't know that, man.
You don't know him.
Exactly.
But a lot of people, Christians, will be like, God, Jesus, I'm at your door.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Yeah, dog. I use the same examples for this dude at work that I had talked to about.
Who are
Because
you?
I had said that about church, and he had told me, "Nah, if you're not going, then you're not gonna make it up there."
Okay.
And I said, "Okay, well, remember in the story in the Bible where it says that God's gonna judge all believers,
Yeah.
and there's gonna be some who say." Or he's gonna say, "Depart from me, for I never knew you." And he's gonna say, "But God, we preached services in your name.
Yeah,
we casted out
preachers,
demons.
yeah.
We casted out demons in your name. We healed people." And he's gonna say, "Depart from me, because I never knew you."
Right.
Bro, you can act all you want.
Exactly. We
But
know that.
You know what I'm saying? You can act all you want, but
Yeah.
God knows what's up.
Exactly.
And if you ain't personally spending, but all that aside, that is
And
that is
what
a
you're
good
saying is
point.
not controversial. That's just
Yeah,
that's just
it's
real
just
life.
because how some Christians
Some people will be like, "Oh, this guy don't know what he's talking about because he don't even go to church," or
Yeah.
But they don't know your life. They don't know what you do. Like I
they don't know this. I spend time with the
When I was
Father
talking about it
every
last
day.
night, it's like, yeah, I do scroll for hours on.
Yeah.
And there's sometimes I when I'm reading my Bible, when I'm worshiping, it's minutes.
Yeah, it's quick. It's like you just got it out the way.
So does
Yeah.
God really know me, or is He getting to know me?
Yeah. And see, that's the thing. That's good. See, that's what I'm saying. It's
more
all in. You make time for what you really want,
Right.
dog. And that's good. But that's scary though. That ChatGPT
Yeah, dude,
says that because you're like, that's why they're making the connection. Could it be demonic?
Okay, see, this is crazy, because that's demonic. Sounds demonic because they use the devil.
Yeah.
They use the devil to control the world, which the world belongs to him. We all know that.
Yeah.
But Paul Harvey in 1965 told the story, if I were the devil, how would I control? And it would start off by like the school system.
Yeah.
Taking away
God
prayer.
out of it. Yeah.
Which we're going to read it. Maybe next week we'll read it.
Yeah.
And we'll break it down. And that's without ChatGPT.
Yeah. Yeah, that was back in the 60s, right?
That was 1964, I think, when it came out. So that was straight out of his dome, if it was his. I'm not saying it was, and it wasn't. I don't know. The only time I ever heard it was through him.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, Unc, I mean, it's
but in reality, it is like that.
It's like that. I mean, and how does it know that? How does it know? That's what, AI is helpful.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's dope. Like I said at the job, there's an AI system, Unc, and it literally, it makes pallets for us.
Right.
It
It's
using the computer.
Right.
I mean, using the camera. It sees how all the freight that's coming down, and it picks it up and rotates and sets it perfectly.
What's it called? Tetris it.
Yeah, perfect.
Tetris it. Yeah.
Pallet and then shrink wraps
Yeah.
and then cuts. Dog, it's
See?
crazy.
Yeah.
So it is helpful.
Yeah.
But I think you should be, should you be wary?
Right. Well,
of
what I was going to say,
ChatGPT.
nephew, is if you're using AI, then why aren't you using it for good? How can I get closer to God?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Why would AI help you if it don't have no sense of God?
But it's an all-knowing computer. It should be able to tell you, in order for your belief, this is what you need to do. Why would it just not?
I wonder if that's the conflict, dog.
The only thing should be if the question was reversed.
I don't know.
How do I make this world back into a Christian world, into a Jesus or God believing
I don't know,
world?
man. See,
I'm not going to ask that.
Here's the thing. The only person that should be all knowing is God.
Right.
So that's why I'm wondering.
That's what I'm saying, dude. That's what I'm saying. I mean,
and
this person asked it.
To me, I think you can't trust AI because AI doesn't have emotion. It doesn't have.
Well, I mean, if we was to look up a story that, if you ask that question in reverse, and not about Satan, but about God.
I'm gonna ask my AI.
Okay, now look. What if it scares you to become a non-believer? Because what if it tells you the real story that we can't because we're too far gone?
I don't think it could.
I mean, I know Jesus died on our cross, for our sins, because of what he went through, we are saved. But at the same time, God is mad. This world is demonic.
Oh yeah, well it's his. It's Satan's world.
Yeah.
We just here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like, but you got to think on. I don't think anything could ever be too far gone. Not with God. You know what I'm saying?
What's what we hope, nephew?
I think for sure. And I know that because the you got to think, man, the people that Jesus had around him were some of the roughest men.
At that time,
Man, some of them was Christian killers, dog.
Yeah.
They killed Christians.
Right.
Or people who believed in God. And they still, you know what I'm saying?
He forgave them and
bro,
and
he
taught them the way.
thing.
But they were willing to learn.
Yeah.
How many people are willing to learn now? How many men right now are willing to go into the lion's den,
bro,
and survive?
I'm glad you said that, This world now, the generation we're in, the younger generations coming up, willing to learn things like that, dog. My dad had said something to me the other day about some people that had went to his work, and he was just saying the difference of generations.
The younger
kids don't work like the older kids.
Right.
I mean, the younger kids don't work like the older generation.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just like, and then you get on TikTok and you see all these younger people and you're like, dude, there's no way y'all can be that naive, bro.
Right, yeah.
Like, y'all gotta know something, and a lot of these kids don't know nothing,
they don't,
bro.
man. They're relying on their phones.
Man, my mom showed me a content creator yesterday, one of her older videos. She was making lettuce wraps using iceberg lettuce.
Oh yeah,
and somebody
in the beginning, I knew you talking
what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna throw it out there because I'm not trying to make.
I mean, she was also she's big, but she was also maybe making fun of it. I'm not sure. Maybe
I don't think so.
You know,
some people just aren't that bright.
But she's that person's one of the big ones right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, other than that, I understand.
But you know what I'm saying? The generational
they don't know
gap.
differences of this. You know,
and it's weird because you got all this technology at your fingertips.
Yeah.
But what are you learning?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
You're not using
You're not using it as a tool.
As a tool.
You're using it as a distraction.
Of your life. To distract you from learning.
From learning, dog.
From learning life.
We have all this knowledge at our fingertips, bro. Anything you could ever ask.
And we're all, what is that word? We all the same, because I've been asking myself, what can I do to make money at home while I'm recovering from this knee surgery? But have I looked it up yet?
Probably not.
Have I asked AI, hey, what can I do off my phone to make extra money?
Extra money.
You know, just to, before I start back to work.
Exactly.
I have it in my hand. It's a tool. But I haven't used it as that. What have I been doing? What did I share today? I'm looking up food critics.
Food critics, yeah. We're watching entertainment and not, you know what I mean? And that's the thing, man. So all this that we've talked about tonight.
So want to entertain you or to teach you? Or are we just using everything wrong? Technology wrong?
Wrong.
Where the ancient civilizations had the most technology, that more than us, and that's what happened to them. They started falling out and not using it for the right purpose. So it had to restart.
So AI had to destroy the world.
Destroy it.
They know
had to come back and say,
humans will make it again.
Let's start again and see, give these people an opportunity. Yeah,
the next human race a chance.
That's fucking amazing. Is that not a concept?
It could be.
Is that not a concept?
Could the pyramids house AI computer systems?
Central intelligence.
Goddamn,
was
man.
The world ran
knows?
perfectly until they said, let me just start playing this. You know, they weren't using. There wasn't nuclear weapons back then.
Or was there?
I don't think. True. Maybe
because they say there's meteor strikes all over the earth. It could be previous missile smashes.
Well, there's so many theories. You know, the angels, the 97 angels or whatever. 27 angels that fell are the meteorites. You know, that's what I heard too. But you're right, dude. You're right. I mean, was it? How did civilization restart, or why did it restart? Because did.
And it's like, why does AI know so much? Has it been here before?
That's what I'm saying. Is AI what is restarting this world, dog?
I don't know, man.
I believe in God. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And I'm not a what is that religion, man? Scientologists or nothing like that, dog.
But it's fun to theorize. I mean,
it's fun
because like you
because
said,
in reality, I'm still going to pray to my God and not to this. You know.
Yeah, of course, man. But you got to think though. That's what I'm saying. How deep is this AI going to get? You know, and that's what, you know, tying all this, because I think we're getting to a good wrapping point, man. But
you're right,
I do want to say, you know, how far is AI going to get, and how, you know,
and I think it can go as far as we let it.
That's what I was just about to say.
And it could go even further if we utilize it.
Yeah.
If everybody decided to say, you know what, enough is enough with this TikTok. Yeah, I learned some stuff from TikTok. But just ask AI, hey, how do I make this Roman letters raps? And I know people's going to understand that, dog.
Yeah. People who are fans.
Where they come from, Paris?
You know,
hey,
but it's like, for real though.
I'm not making fun of her, dog. I love this chick. Okay,
but
it was
for
hilarious.
real though, you got to think, man. I mean, how far can we take it if we use
when
it
is
for
AI
the
going
right
to
reason?
say that enough is enough?
Could AI become self-aware and get tired of us? Because imagine you being that AI. If it became self-aware and feels like it's a person, they are so smart. They have so much knowledge that it could be like, man, why do we even keep humans around? They're useless.
They're useless. They're
and
not
they
doing
can just get rid of us.
All they're doing is destroying this planet.
And everything's becoming AI. Now you got self-driving cars. Yeah. You got
if there's no humans, why would you need cars?
Dog, think about it. Self-driving cars. There's even a theory about this, dog.
What's that?
Before we go, I want to talk about this. Before we shut out. You've seen the movie Cars, right? The kids show?
No. My kids are grown. Right? I know what movie it is, but I've never seen it.
So Cars.
Yeah.
There's a theory that the world ended. You know, maybe cars were AI driving cars, and they became self-aware, and humans got killed off. That's why cars exist.
Cars.
That's why they're talking cars, because they're AI.
Makes sense.
They're the only things left.
That's what we're talking about right now. I
mean,
is AI going to finally say, you know what, enough is enough with these humans, and we don't need them, and be extinct with a
I sure hope
with a meteorite or a nuclear explosion? You know.
It can make all the nuclear weapons go off at one time in the world. It can. Maybe if it hacked into the systems.
I mean, we say it can. I don't think it can because.
Hey, we just theorizing, you know.
Yeah, you're right, nephew. I mean, but this was deep. This was a good episode,
deep, man. Anything, man? We're at a good wrapping point, man. Is there anything you want to say?
I just appreciate everybody. You know, once again, my knees coming along. I'm ready to get back to work. We're ready to start building on here. Yeah, I'm ready to advance our technology. You know,
facts, man. And start doing a lot more. Which that's coming,
and that's coming for us. So we've got ideas. Yeah, and we do have some plans of guests and future.
Facts.
You know, so
we just kind of got to get to a point where we want to be at before we start bringing people in. Right. So man, thank y'all for joining us for another exciting episode, man. It was fun. And put it down in the comments. Let us know what y'all think about AI, man. What's to come? Yeah. And do y'all use it? Do y'all think it's demonic?
Are y'all learning from it, or is it demonic? Yeah.
But man, thank y'all for joining us for another exciting episode of Late Night Conversations with Uncle Nephew. And until next week,
appreciate y'all. Peace.